Yeah, I walked down there yesterday and took my dog for a walk, and we got down there and we could see people over on the other side, and there was actually the whole metal structure of your bridge was sitting down right by the end.
All right, you already dragged that up. Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, they look like they dragged it through our trail area and then got it up onto the
Okay.
road.
Oh, they did. Huh. I would have thought they'd have left it down in the water and picked it up, but I don't know. You know,
Managed to
Yeah,
knock down a
it was
trees, but
quite a ways
fortunately,
down.
big.
yeah, I can't say that I've ever built a bridge before. Do you
Oh, now
have the
you have.
do you have the permit, Bob?
No, I don't have. I mean, I've applied for it and I've been called Danny. I haven't heard back from her and she hasn't sent me back an email. So,
Yeah, you might want to throw in where some kind of drawing or description that we're putting it on rocks and stuff and send it to them so nobody gets in trouble for working on the bridge, because apparently well, I'll wait till we have a few more, I guess.
yeah,
I know,
I'll do that.
I know Mike Anderson and Betsy aren't going to be on. For our neighbors here that aren't aware, Mike had a heart attack and was flown down to
Oh God.
Duluth.
No.
Oh,
Yeah, and he's doing well. He had quadruple bypass surgery.
Oh my
Jeez.
goodness.
So he is doing well, and
He should be out of cardiac ICU. He had surgery on Monday. And the standard procedure apparently is to keep him in cardiac ICU for a number of days. And then he'll be moved to a regular bed for a couple more. So I just chatted with Betsy earlier today and she said he's on a lot of drugs and a lot of hookups and stuff, but he's doing as expected and things are where they're supposed to be. It's just gonna be
Where is he?
recovery.
St.
Where
Luke's,
did you
Duluth.
think?
Yep. So, well, I think it's 7:04. I wish more people were on here, but I'm not seeing.
Oh,
Do you-
here comes Dave.
Did you send this to the distribution list, Cheryl, or how?
I replied to everybody on the last email that came.
That's weird because I didn't get it. And I wonder if there's two different email chains going on, because Gene gets it, but I don't. But
Or maybe just ask everybody to check their spam filters in case it's with a new,
Yep.
you know.
excellent. Well, thank you for joining. Like I say, I wish there was more people on here. But we're moving forward here. I'm gonna, right after the meeting here, I'm gonna jump on. I had to create, I don't even know what it's called, a DNR login for waters and stuff. And that's where I applied for the permit. Bob knows what I'm talking about, Bob Wolf. And I'm going to submit the plans that I sent out to everybody. And just so you know, I told you that I wanted to, I sent back what the original one, because they put a weight limit on our bridge. Well, they're not building our bridge. They're just doing the abutments. And so, you know, and it was kind of odd. And when I talked to them, they said, yeah, we shouldn't have put that on there. So I sent it back and sent it out. So it's going to be the same weight limit as before, which there really isn't a weight limit. The abutments are engineered, the bridge is not, but we all are well aware that bridge is probably overbuilt for what we use it for. So, so that's why the delay on that. I'm expecting, I think it was on July 25th, I sent out to everybody the cost for budgeting that Steve gave me. That didn't include the dirt work. I'm having him include the dirt work because I just assume have it all done in 3 days and not try to make everything else work out for us. Leon, I just saw your email when I sat down here. As far as what the DNR is requesting, I'll have to read a little more in depth, but it sounds like we have to provide them with a little information, not the DNR, soil and water.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
to-
I sent the schematic that Matt circulated to the Soil and Water Conservation District, and the engineer had concerns that it didn't address what the soil and water conservation people are concerned about, which is restoration and preservation of the stream bed and the erosion that gets into the Baptism River. So I told them that we would try to address that, and maybe Nordic can give some insight into what, if anything, they're going to be doing when they put in the abutment. But that's the concern that they have. They have said that, you know, we qualify for a contribution from the district, and as it was the last time we did this, we have to front everything up front, and then they'll reimburse us to the extent that they can. They're going to fall in behind what FEMA contributes, if anything, to Betsy and Mike, and any other sources we get. But anyway, they seem to be on board if we can address the concerns that their engineer had about the stream bed and erosion.
I have no idea what we do with the stream bed, but you know, we'd have to work with them, Leon. In my opinion, we could, the ditch that goes between the road and Mike and Betsy's,
Yeah,
you know, we can put some riprap there. I've been, for the life of me, I can't figure out what vegetation we would put in there. They would have to help us out with that.
yeah.
Because I mean, I can go plant trees down there, but that's not going to do much for us. I mean, the reality is it's going to have to come back naturally.
Yeah, the other concern that they had was whether or not the plan that Nordic has come up with is going to resolve the issue of another 500-year flood. And based on, as I read the schematic, it looks like they're going to have it well above the high water mark that Matt talked about when we had the community meeting.
Yeah, and I requested that. And I think possibly, and I'll have to talk to Danny, but I have some hydrology stuff from her. I just have to go back and look. That you can send them, Leon. And I'm not going to send it to them. I will send it to you and let you, so that I'm not in the middle of it, because the last thing we need is another three-way conversation going on. So I'll forward that to you. But I think I'm pretty sure I have it. I think it was sent to me and Steve Foster, and you know, basically talked about, you know, the size of the bridge we needed and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So, but I think it had something to do with the high water mark and floods, and but I just don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
But I will forward that. The big thing is, folks, we got after we paid our bills, we got $15,000 in the bank. That's not going to cover it. We're probably you know, what, 20 would be 30, 35, we're $30,000 short, probably somewhere in that neighborhood. So you know, I've only asked everybody for 2,000. We had one that sent in the total estimate of 3,247. Gene and I are going to throw another $1,200 or whatever it was in, and that'll bring our portion up. And I'm going to share, Leon and I visited her, email back and forth. I'm going to share the spreadsheet. So we've been transparent on everything else. We're going to be transparent on who's paying and who's not. But I think we should, you know, there's a handful of people, many of them sitting right here, most of them, you know, that are going to help out and make sure that we get this taken care of and done. You know, Phil will, Mike and Betsy will. Most people sitting right here gonna help and make sure we get this done. We will have to have a meeting after the fact probably to discuss what our options are. For those that don't pay or don't think they need to pay. I absolutely totally disagree with that. And Gene and I have discussed getting, just us paying on our own a real estate attorney to say what are our options here, because to me it just doesn't seem right. I think everybody that has an easement across that road ought to be paying.
Yeah, Matt, what I will do too is I'll go through the people who haven't paid yet, and I'll send them individual emails just reminding them of the importance of this, and we'll see if that shakes anything out of the trees.
Okay, that'd be great.
Because I know Mike was gonna do the dirty work, but I guess he's ducked out.
Yeah, evidently it stressed him out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Leon, I have to default to you as our legal expert on our council here. So what do you think are our options if we have a few people who refuse to pay?
Well, I'm not that kind of lawyer, Dave, but aside from hiring a strong arm person to go around and I don't know. I mean, my wife and I talked about that before this meeting. We're not a homeowners association. There's no contract. I don't think we have any recourse at all other than moral persuasion to make it happen. But if Matt's willing to reach out to somebody and see if there's somebody in the area that has some familiarity with the area and what recourse we might have, I don't think we have any other than just dunning people.
Okay, I've got an idea. How about if we put a toll gate across the road?
Yeah. A key lock there.
we joke, but I thought about, you go down to Whitetail Ridge and there's a gate down there that you have to have a code to get in. And I'm not necessarily in favor of that because I get a lot of Amazon deliveries back here and this and that. And but I don't know. It will definitely leave a bad taste in our mouths for those that don't pay. So
yeah, and I'm being facetious about the whole the gate and whatnot. That would be the worst case scenario, and probably never want to do that. But our whole problem here when I bought this property from Jerry Correll 10 years ago, and I found out that there was no road association agreement, that's a bad deal. It's a bad situation because, we've had already 2 incidents, the culverts that, we put those in, and now we've got the bridge and we had this flood. They say with global warming, we're having more and more of these storms. We're probably going to keep seeing situations like this. And then people like Matt and Leon, God bless you, are doing 90% of the work. And then, financial risk and whatnot. It's just, I have a property in Silver Bay, the same thing. And there, at least, thank God, we have a road association and we're developing our rules and our guidelines and membership and legal responsibilities and an accountant and a LLC checking account. We really need to move in this direction for our road, or this is going to be, I'm 60, I'll probably live maybe 10 more years, so maybe I'll be gone. But for the rest of you younger people, you still will be dealing with this if we have the next flood and this bridge gets knocked out or the road needs a whole bunch of gravel. I think Jerry Correll, even though he has kind of a negative connotation there, and he spent a lot of money putting gravel. I mean, he made a lot of money on selling the properties, but he did upkeep that road a fair amount. And now that he's not in the game, I think we're going to see more and more of this, and we need to move in that direction. And I know it's going to be really hard. I sent out an email when I first bought my property about, coming up with a road association, and it was very much frowned upon and not looked upon in a good manner. But come on, folks, we need this.
Well, I'll let somebody else speak to that. 'Cause
We're in a, just want you to know, hi, Janet Wigfield here. Louise and I own 7226, and we're definitely in agreement with you and look forward to the development of an association like that. We own a condo in the cities, and we have an association here, and we just wouldn't get the work done that needs to be done without, everybody doing their part.
Matt, has there been any indication from the folks that haven't paid that there's any chance that they just haven't gotten around to it, or they're working up the cash, or has there been any indication that they just have no intention of paying?
no indication anyway, either way. It's been total radio silence.
Okay.
So it could be people who don't check their email, or it's sitting in their spam folder still. So,
Yeah, we
do they
have
even-
two
do they even know?
people. Well, we have two people. We have two people that have sent in $1,000 of the 2,000 requested. And we have 4 people who haven't paid anything. Otherwise, everyone else has paid the full 2,000 at this point. So we've had really good response, overall, considering I think we have 17 people.
Yeah, that's very encouraging. So I was just going to ask that's great.
Yeah, and like Matt said, he'll share the spreadsheet from Leon showing, what expenses have been paid, what the balance is, and stuff after the meeting. So you'll be able to see, who's paid and who hasn't paid and who's paid what at this point.
We have phone numbers for any of the people who haven't paid.
I don't have the phone numbers. My spreadsheet, basically, what I put together was my spreadsheet is I went out to the county tax record and I pulled addresses off of the county tax record for the 17 people. The spreadsheet that Leon has just hasn't listed by last name. And that's what we'll share at this point because I mean,
yeah,
it's basically, if you live in the cities, your address is the cities on your tax record. That's the address I used because I pulled it off of the Lake County tax file.
So have we tried mailing snail mailing them something?
Not yet.
Some have been on the meetings.
Okay.
They
I
have.
just want to make sure people are actually getting the messages.
I think I've personally talked to every one of them.
Okay, cool.
And if somebody else wants to make phone calls, I'll send you their phone numbers.
Yeah,
As
and
long as somebody's
I've actually talked to a couple of the people, and they've said, yeah, we're in, but we want to see the hardcore written estimates, and we want to see the bills due before we kick in our money. So perhaps that's what a few people are thinking, that they will contribute, but they're waiting to get closer to, the disbursement point. I still, the numbers that you just said that, we had 4 or 5 people that haven't paid. I'm still out of 17. I think that's pretty good. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be, 5 people have paid and 12 people hadn't.
Yeah, no, it really is. I'm very pleased with where we are at. When we first started this project, I did lose a little sleep knowing our name was going to go on this project and we were shining for it. It was a little unnerving knowing we were signing for a $50,000 bill and not knowing who would contribute. But based off of what I've seen, I feel a whole lot better about it. And I think what you just said, Dave, about maybe waiting to see a little bit more hardcore bid, but the bid that Matt sent out from Nordic, that's as close as we're going to get until the work is done. And that's what Steve Foster said is, I can send you a quote, but it is a budgetary estimate because they won't have an actual until the project is done. It could come in a little less, it could come in a little more. And he's hoping to get us a bid that would include some dirt work. But what we have submitted at this point has been pretty hardcore, black and white. I mean, the amount that was paid to Tikkanen, the $5,000 for engineering, the permit, and then the estimate we have. The only thing we don't have any estimate on at this point is the final dirt work.
Yeah, and I tried to explain to some of the people that I knew, some of my neighbors that had some questions about, I don't want to, pay my $2,000 now and it's not due. I said, we need to have the money in the bank ready to go. We can't be calling the last 5-10 people, begging them for the check, so that, I mean, who's gonna, when Nordic sends us the final bill, who's gonna write that check? I mean, I wouldn't want to if I was $15,000 short. So we need to get the rest of the people on board. I will volunteer if I can get the names of the last 5 people or whatever to do some telemarketing and contact them, drive to their house, show up in the front, but whatever it needs to get in some kind of feedback of where they're at. If they're going to say, you know what, nope, not on board, or yeah, I'm just waiting to write my check, or I need to cash out some stock or something. But I'll volunteer for that portion to be the strong arm if that's what we need to have done.
Well, I tell you what, I will also send snail mail letters to the people that haven't paid yet, in addition to email. And it could be that they're just not getting the emails, or they're not eager to look in their inbox. So I'll follow up with letters as well.
Do you have the addresses, or do you want the ones?
I think that Betsy already sent those to me.
Okay.
Okay. And when we first started this project, Steve Foster did tell us that he would need a third to half down to start the project. We have already paid the 5,000 engineering, so I don't know if that technically goes against the project, but the other remaining portion is around $40,000 on the original bid that was emailed out on July 25th. So if we owe a third down, we have that much money in the bank, but that's all we have. And he also said that the remaining amount would be due 30 days after the project is completed. And with the project looking at starting and completing either next week or the following week, this is some pretty serious stuff on those who haven't paid are going to have to cough up the whole amount within 30 days of the project being completed, and the rest of us will have to submit the remaining amount once we have the final bill. But we have probably pretty close to a third sitting in our balance right now.
Hey, Matt, do you have any more information about, are they any more clear about when they want to start this project? Just thinking about how long that bridge is going to be closed for those.
No, they told us 3 days. They said that they would start it on a Tuesday and plan on having it in place, ready to go Thursday. Leaving us so we have a bridge for weekends. So I'm not anticipating them doing it next week. I'm anticipating the first week of September, that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
I have a little bit of feedback on that. So Matt, you and I spoke last week, and I'm in a kind of a different delicate situation because I have my cabin as a rental property and I have it rented out. So if people can't get into it, it's a big problem for me. And not only that, Vrbo does not even allow me to cancel them. If I cancel them, I get fined and severely. So anyway, I called Steve Foster and I spoke with him last week. Great guy. I said, hey, I know you can't work around me. I'm I'm not the golden child here. But I just need to explain to you my situation with rentals. And I gave him my schedule, and I just said, I need to know, what your plan is and how long the bridge will be out. And he reiterated, once he starts, absolutely 3 days, unless something goes wrong, an excavator breaks down, he loses an operator, something like that. 3 days in and out, and be back to at least at a point where we can cross it. And then I said, okay. And then, I know you had mentioned the 26th, which is next Monday. Is that viable? And he said, my biggest issue is we're thinking that the excavator I need is a bit larger than the one we have over at Carell's job or whatever. I think he said this excavator was in Cromwell and that he needs to get access to that. He really went back and forth. He couldn't, and I said, that's fine. I understand. He couldn't really give me a firm answer, but he said he was going to shoot for possibly the 26th and being Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back open on Thursday. But he said worst case, he believes the next weekend is Labor Day. So Monday they won't be working. So then it would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, back open on Friday. And he told me he's very, very firm that it would be one of those two scenarios.
I've got a question about, it's only gonna be closed for 3 days. Does the concrete not need to cure at all, or are they putting additives in it, or did the engineer tell you that we're fine at 3 days, or what's going on there?
I really don't know. It's always been my understanding it's gonna be prefabbed. But I don't know that. Looking at the drawings, I'm not convinced that's a true statement, but it was always my understanding that it was gonna be prefab. They'd come in and do the initial set and put the abutments back on top of it and set the bridge down. So if that's the case, cure time is non-existent.
So Matt, if they put the bridge down, are they going to be able to put in rock to make it, because the bridge is going to be a lot higher than is now. Are they going to be able to put in gravel to make approaches to the bridge?
Well, that's the dirt work portion. That was the portion originally I was possibly going to have Jeff Tickinen do, but I didn't want to try to time everything out.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, Nordic, you're here. You got your big trucks over on the Corral Road. Let's just do this.
Will the dirt work include adding more gravel to the side where the approach where there's a lot of erosion? Is that?
I wouldn't count on that. And that, that is something that, if you recall when this all started, Phil and I were actually going down the road of getting bids to get the bridge raised and this and that. And then the week later, the flood hit. So and that would have included that. I don't even want to go there. I just want the bridge up and done, and we'll deal with the rest later. But I'm with you. We got to do something with that too.
Yeah. It's very exposed, a lot of rock.
Yeah, I was down there digging out a couple, and then I threw 3 yards where I dug out. So
So who do we need to talk to just to make sure that who's telling us that is the person that's putting the abutments in, the one that's dealing with the engineering, so they're going to know
Yes.
that we only need 3 days, so we don't have to worry about it.
the engineers gave it to Nordic, and Nordic gave it to me.
And Nordic says that, okay, fine, we don't need 3 days to cure. The only thing I saw on that sheet was, okay, they have after 28 days, they're supposed to be at 4,500 PSI.
Yeah, you're breaking up there after 28 days. What?
I think it says 45 PSI or something is in the specs, or I mean 4,500 PSI or something like that. That's the only thing that I saw, and I I just want to make sure that someone's not missing the fact that it needs a cure for a while. And we're probably not, but if, I don't want to wait, have people driving over it if it actually needs to be, if we actually need to wait if someone's missing that.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. Steve Foster guaranteed me that after his 3 days of lifting and preliminary work, that we would all be able to drive across it. Because I told him, I said, not only for me as a rental, but I said, we have people who live back there and we can't have it, and he said, no, 3 days max in and out. Although I've seen equipment break down and throw a wrench into this, but I don't, but it's a good question. Absolutely, we can ask that. I'll be touching base with Steve again, and I'll ask him about the curing and settling, but I don't think that's an issue. But good
Now, like I
question.
said, my understanding was all gonna be prefab. They were gonna pour it, not necessarily here, and bring it, excavate, set it in place, refill, and set it back down.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But I don't know that for sure.
That's what I remember them saying that day we were
Down
all
at the-
together at the site.
Yeah,
So I think what we've got left is we're getting really close. So that's great. We need to collect money from 4, 5, 6 people. I'll be willing to step into that role if everybody's okay with it, to touch base with these people, find out what's going on. I think we need to be proactive and have the money in the bank. And it's going to be either Monday or a week from Tuesday. And then in a 3-day process, we should have a lifted bridge. May not be perfect, may need still grading and fill and work, but at least we can drive in and out.
and the guardrail,
Yeah, guardrail.
I'm not worried about that. I think most of the pieces are down there, most of the metal. And I'll probably end up having to pull off the one that's completely snapped in half. I think both parts are there, and I'll go grind that off and go have it welded back together, and then
Yeah, while you're at it, Matt, could you put lights on there, please?
I'll work on that. But
There's reflector tape.
yeah.
And the deck too needs a little leveling off.
Yeah.
You betcha.
They gonna give
I have
us
some
a
extra
hard-
lumber. I have some extra lumber from a build I'd be happy to donate. So
Hey, Dave, I will
Rid of it,
copy you. Dave, I will copy you on the emails that I send out, so you have a frame of reference as to who I've been contacting, okay?
I appreciate that very much. And then Matt, I know once again you do lots of work on that road and you do snow plowing and mowing. What so you have a skid loader?
Yes.
Do you
And I
have
have
an
a
excavator?
Mini X. Yes.
Oh, so you've got a Mini X.
Yes.
Okay. I've got a Mini X as well, and I was gonna say I could volunteer to show up, and I'm gonna have it back there in October anyway to do some work. So, if you wanna collaborate and have another body to do work, I'm all up
Well,
for it.
my plan this summer was to work from the split past Leon's spot and dig out all the rocks that the frost has pushed up, then refill them. But when the bridge fell down, I'm not going after, $500 from each homeowner to do that at this time. Now I've done some of that, like on the other side of the bridge. The really nasty ones I dug out. And then for the spur back past Leon's, I've actually done quite a bit of work because there was a lot of wash back there. So I think I've hauled, I don't remember, 40 yards of gravel back here. So,
That's very generous and kind of you, but once again, diesel's not cheap, and all that time and effort, this is where all of us should be kicking in.
Well, and believe me, that was the intent, but I want this bridge taken care of. That's more important to me than the rest of it. So,
Matt, I got a question on the bridge still. Are we missing a quote for the additional fill after the bridge is set up higher, even to use the bridge?
yes,
So we're gonna need more money than you think we need right now, even.
I'm estimating, the $5,000 that Jeff charged us to do what he did. I'm estimating
I
$5
see.
grand in there. So,
But that hasn't been quoted yet, but
correct.
you talked to.
Well, hopefully we can get that fill. I mean, I've heard that the Corel, I don't know, Matt, did you hear? Is the Corel Bridge back in?
No, it's supposed to, we were over there, well, Gene was over there today,
Yeah, I want to cross it today.
but, and this is my fear, and I don't know if anybody here was at the meeting over at the Corral Bridge where when we met with the DNR, she said something about navigation of waters. And I went, whoa, time out. So you just said navigable waters. I said, do we have to get a hold of the Army Corps of Engineers? I was told no. Wade asked the county. He was told no. The second their permit went in, Army Corps of Engineers is calling. So Wade was supposed to send me those phone numbers and he hasn't done so. And I'll get them, but and then the Minnesota Pollution Control got into it. It's like, really, people? You've had all summer. It's typical government, left hand and right hand doesn't know what they're doing. And you would think if we applied for a permit with the DNR, all these automated things would go out and we'd hear from them long before now. So
yeah, that's scary. And navigable waters, they're not navigable waters. It's whatever, however they define it. But if somebody like that steps in and shuts the whole project down, or causes financial, pain and suffrage.
it sounds like on the other side, it's not been a big headache. I called the Army Corps of Engineers and they basically pass it on to Minnesota Police Pollution Control. Wade called the Minnesota Pollution Control and they basically said, well, don't worry about it. And Wade said, I am worried about it. I'm losing money every day that bridge isn't there. And so I haven't talked to him in a couple of days. I don't know where he's at. But like I said, I'm gonna submit the drawings for our permit right after this meeting. Quite frankly, I expect a phone call from the Army Corps of Engineers. So
record every one of those conversations.
I don't think I have the ability to do that.
Use your cell phone. Yeah, it's hopefully it doesn't get, any more complicated, but that's all we need at this point.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, speaking of complications, do you know if this may not be an opportune time, but have Mike and Betsy heard anything from FEMA?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. They applied FEMA. They stopped once. Didn't contact them, stopped once. They weren't around. Had plans to come and see Mike.
Sorry,
Mike
FEMA
had
was
a heart
actually,
attack, was flown out of here, and they stopped. And because he wasn't home at the time they agreed, they canceled his application.
Oh,
So Betsy has reapplied. We are listed on the application. You know what? We are listed, Gene and I are listed on the application. And so hopefully if they show up tomorrow or something, we'll get the phone call and we'll run down to Mike and Betsy's and
okay.
be down there. So
and FEMA was actually driving up and down, stopping at houses one day, that day that I called you, Matt.
yep.
That day a FEMA guy was here and he'd actually been here the Saturday before. We saw him on our trail cams, but we weren't home that day. But But so they were definitely out passing out information and trying to talk to people.
Yeah, I was at my place yesterday and there was a FEMA brochure stuck in my door.
We got one too. Apparently FEMA needs to inspect Mike and Betsy's house.
For whatever reason.
And we don't know what that's about, nor does she, but after they got word that their first application was withdrawn, Betsy did talk with somebody and she said it was somebody who was really helpful. She did the application last Friday. I have a copy of all of the information at this point, and I'm just monitoring my spam email, my junk, everything, just in case something comes through. But I'm listed as their phone contact and email, so hopefully we'll hear from them soon. But one of the things they need to do is they need to come to Mike and Betsy's house and inspect their house.
Like
So
I mentioned,
know FEMA had a lot to what they said is, you know, it's for personal property, it's for your home. So I don't know if that's what that's about or whatever, but I guess we'll see where it goes.
okay, yeah, because the soil and water conservation people are interested in that as well.
Yeah.
This is not going to be fast. If we get any money from FEMA, it'll be a year from now. So, I mean, don't bank on 30 days later.
Yeah.
You'll see some money.
I have to sign off, but Dave, I'll be in touch with you copying and I'll circulate who I'm communicating with.
Okay, once I get your emails, I'll confirm back that I've received them.
Great.
Okay, and I'm just gonna throw out a mass email on the spreadsheet of who's paid and who hasn't.
And Leon,
Thank
will
you.
you share with Dave the information that Betsy sent with the phone numbers?
Yes.
She sent that to me, so if you'll share that one
Okay,
to Dave for the phone, for what phone numbers we do have, that'd be great.
great. Thanks, everyone.
Leon, I got one question before you go.
Yes.
Did you get the second check from me and Sarah?
I don't know. I haven't received anything in a couple of weeks.
Okay, if you didn't, you should be getting it tomorrow or whatever.
Okay.
It should-
Thanks, Rob.
within the next couple of days, whatever. It's
Okay, doke.
okay.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, thank you, Ron.
Greatly
Sarah.
appreciated.
All right, well, good meeting, and I don't know if we have anything else to discuss. Leon, appreciate your time, and Matt, I know you put in a ton of effort, so it is appreciated very much, and I'll look forward to the information, and I'll be the friendly contactor for our outliers, and I'll provide feedback on what they have to say.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you for doing that.
Thanks for all the work you're doing.
Thanks, Todd.